So you finally made it to the UK, the land of opportunities. But nobody warned you that the real challenge wouldn't be finding a work, navigating the weather, or understanding the bus routes. It will be keeping your marriage alive while still navigating and adjusting to your new life. Sometimes where you feel like an outsider and your accent can be a barrier. If you've moved from Nigeria or Africa to the UK or the Western world, this video is for you. Stop scrolling, watch this video to the end because it will help you stay sane, stay married, stay fulfilled, and enjoy your life even in the Western world. I belong to a mom's group on Facebook, and I can tell you that 8 out of 10 posts made in a day is about women struggling in their marriages. Marriages at the verge of breakup, divorce, separation, because they are struggling to navigate their marriage life in the UK and in Western world. So I'm going to read one of the messages we got last week for you. Hello, mommies. Please approve. My spouse is kind of difficult, and I just don't know the right way to deal with him any longer. Our marriage is still very fresh, but I'm tired. He's always wanting to control everything, including how I handle situations and relationships. Always nice, listening, and very patient with all outsiders, but not me. I'm becoming nagging because of his behavior anytime. I try to discuss matters that need to be addressed. He feels I want to be in charge. I suggested that we should be praying. He agreed to, but I'm always the one to remind us and always telling me to lead prayers. But sometimes he just gives me attitude and pray on his own. He does things without thinking how I feel and even gets happy when I feel hurt. There's nothing I've ever hidden from him, and I try as much as I can to respect him. He's my dependent. Okay, we don't need to know all of the information, but this is someone that is getting tired of our marriage already. And we see many messages like this. Even worse, I don't want to even read the worst ones. But this is to tell you that many people are struggling to navigate this marriage life in the Western world because the dynamics changes when you're abroad. What's worked for you in Africa might not work in the UK. So that is why you need to watch this video to the end so that you can learn how to remain sane and happily married and fulfilled even while you are in the Western. If you're a married woman in the UK, a married man in the UK, I want you to know that you are not alone. If you're struggling to keep your marriage sane, happy, fulfilled, I want you to know there are several other people like you in this boat. So you need to learn from them. You need to watch this video to the end. You need to, embrace the power of community because you will not be able to do that alone. So number one culture shock is that the UK isn't just a different country. It's a country that is dominated by individualism. People are more concerned with satisfying their needs, their wants, and everything that concerns them. So it's more about a me culture. So whatever is happening to you is not really their business. That is why you can, come out of your house and be smiling and just greet your neighbor, and they don't give a shit about it. Like they can just ignore you or not even smile. Or the ones that try will give you a fake smile and move away. So it is not really a community that is based on communism. Am I very repetitive? Yeah. So they are more focused on themselves. So you coming to want to associate with people so quickly, be friends with your neighbor might not really work. Unlike back home in Nigeria, you can easily go to your neighbor's house or the person opposite street from where you live. You can be friends with them. But here people are more concerned with solving their needs, their wants, just fighting their battles alone. So, and that can make you really lonely because you're used to having people around you. People are always coming to stay with you. So that culture shock can affect your marriage. So you need to understand that you are in a different country entirely. So you have to look for what would work for your marriage. And yes, you're trying to find your feet, right? You're in a new place, you're still adjusting yourself to the new environment, and that can be a challenge for you personally, not to talk of your marriage. And you need to understand that both of you are actually navigating this world together. So both the man and the woman, they are struggling to understand how the system works here. And so sometimes there'll be the tendency for you to transfer your frustration to your partner. So you want to be sure that you guys are on the same page, you guys are learning together, you guys sit down together to agree on the different cultural realities and how you want to navigate, this marriage life in the UK. If you want to stay happily married in the UK, you must learn to communicate. You and your spouse must be involved in each other's life. You guys have to talk. You guys have to chat. You guys have to be in the know. You have to work as a team. You have to work together, to arrange your entire life. And if you have kids, it can even become even more demanding and challenging. That is why communication is so important. Your communication style has to evolve. If you were the type that would just talk briefly, you don't really talk that much, you have to be involved. You have to tell each other how your day went, what is happening during the day, where you're needing help, where you have challenges. You both have to be involved. You have to communicate. This one cannot be overemphasized, because sometimes your spouse is having a difficult day. They are moody because they didn't have a good time. Maybe they've been trying to, they've been looking for a job, and they haven't gotten that job. So they can be really frustrated and show that frustration on you. But if they even communicate how they feel to you, then you understand that, oh, this is how my partner feels to this, so how do I support him in that area? So it's important that you both are communicating. So somebody made a post in that same group and talked about how would she be able to spice up her marriage, because she was always on night shift, her husband was always on day shift. Now, because I think they had kids, so the husband would work in the day, let's say 8 to 6, and she would work at night, 7 to 7. So as the wife is coming back from work, the husband is going to work. So they barely had time for each other. And it got to a point where it was as if they were roommates. And it would become even worse if their work does not permit them to use phones. So how would they be able to communicate with each other? That even becomes worse. So at a point, that this might be your survival strategy. If you have just moved to the UK or any Western world, you might just need to, take up jobs to pay the bills, but that should not be, that is not sustainable. That should not be the ultimate goal. That is why communication is important. Both of you would sit down and say, okay, this is how our family will be run. In the first 3 months, these are the kind of jobs that we'll do. This is what we'll do to keep our family, floating and all of that. But after 3 months, this is what we need to do next. We're going to try to, improve our professional skills, look for jobs in this area, because this is not sustainable. Because if you just, allow the days to go by without communication, without proper planning and strategy, your marriage can be at the verge of breakup. So you guys have to sit down and talk and say, okay, maybe you can say this is the line of, what I will do for this time period, just because we need to, make ends meet. But after this period, we have to look for alternatives. Communication is so essential. It cannot be overemphasized. Please put that in your mind. If you have not been speaking, if your partner was not your best friend before, this is the time for them to be your best friend. Pour out your love towards each other. He should pour out your love, to you as well. Like, pour out your love to him, let him pour out his love to you and all of that, because you guys have to work as a team. For marriage to thrive in the UK, partnership is so important. So pay attention to that. So for my husband and I, what we try to do, we try to keep in touch with each other throughout the day. If it's very busy that he can't talk to me, the very short break that he has, he would send me chats, he would send me a voice note, he would call me. He would keep me in the loop. So if he's going to work, he calls me, okay, I've arrived, I know he has arrived, oh, I want to work now, oh, this is my break time, this is what happened. We try to keep in touch throughout the day. Then at night we gist each other, oh, this is what happened, this my boss says, this my husband can know my my colleague's name because I just him about what happened. I also know what's happening in his office as well, because he always communicates what is happening to me. So you guys should, be involved in each other's life. If it means me scheduling 10 minutes before bedtime to just around everything, say what do you need from me now? Is there any area that you think I'm not doing well that you need me to support you? Blah 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 blah. You guys should just find time to talk about things. Maybe you can talk about your kids. If you have kids, talk about your future goals. Just make sure that you guys are always communicating. And if you are getting worn out, don't just assume. Don't think that this man should know what he's supposed to do now. He should be helping me now. No. Open your mouth and talk. Please don't assume things, because sometimes you are thinking something, especially we women. We overthink things. We think that the men should know what they need to do, but sometimes they don't know. Sometimes it's just you that is a planner trying to plan everything. Sometimes they need you to tell them that, oh, I need your help, oh, please help me. So if there is any area you're struggling, any area you need your partner, don't assume anything that is, bothering you. Please learn to tell them. Open your mouth and communicate, and that would help you to remain sane in marriage. Another thing you need to consider if you want to have a happy marriage in the Western world, the UK to be more specific, is to adjust gender roles. If you have just moved from Nigeria, Africa, where we had fixed gender roles, you have to redefine what gender roles is about, because in the UK and in most Western world, partnership is so important. Working as equal partners on the same team is very, very important. So in this case, because there is a financial burden on the family, and most times it's difficult for one person to handle that financial burden, it is important that both parties are working. And because both parties are working, both parties have to also be involved in managing the home. So in Nigeria, where I come from, most of the household, you have the man being the financial bearer of the home. He bears the burden. He provides for the home, while the woman is the homemaker in most cases. So we hardly hear the case of 50-50, in Nigeria, because it is assumed that the man should be able to take care of his family. And men actually take pride in doing this work. But most men are actually raised to, just be financial providers, while the woman take care of the home. So if you come with this mindset to the UK and expect to fold your arms while you go, both you and your wife would go to work, and you expect to fold your arms after coming back from work, that she would clean and cook and do all the chores in the house, you are setting up your home for disaster, because that woman will be drained, that woman will be tired, that woman will be exhausted, and she will not be her best. So it is important that you redefine gender roles. Who does what? That is so important. And this is a conversation that needs to be heard. This also takes, this can also be linked to my first point, where I talked about communication. So in this case now, if both of you are working, because the financial burden cannot be borne by one person, except the man is really a high income earner, or even the woman. But in this case, let's just say that both of you are working. The woman goes out in the morning, the man goes out also. Both of you come back. The woman is expected to, contribute to the home. It might not be 50-50, it might be 70-30, whatever you guys are agree. The man expects you to, contribute, because he cannot bear the financial burden alone, because everything here, renting is monthly, bills are monthly. I talked about this in my video, how we manage our budget. I think you should go and watch it. So in this case, the man is expecting that you guys will be partners, not like in the Nigerian situation where he was a sole provider. He wants you to partner with him. So if that is the case, I think you need to talk about how you handle the chores in the home, how you manage your home. And I don't think that this should be you should not come with a battle mindset. Come with a mindset of, oh, we have to argue this house, he has to wash the plates, you have to mop the floor. No, come with love, come with come up from a place of love, where you guys come together like, I think that we need to talk about how we're going to do these things. Like, will you be able to support me with this while I do this, and all of that? You guys should just discuss it generally. And the man should be happy to, change diapers without feeling like he's less of a man. Of course, he's your child, so you should be happy with that. The man should be able to wash the bathroom. It's not demeaning, it's not too much for him to do. He should be able to cook whenever the woman is tired. So I think that both parties need to be involved in all the activities of the home, financially, materially, spiritually. Both of you have to be involved in all of the activities. How you want to do it is up to you, but I think that if you really want to have a happy marriage, men, I need you to be involved. Women, I need you to communicate with your husband so that you guys will be happy. Otherwise, one person will be really, really sad why the other person is feeling used. It would breed resentment, and you won't have a happy or fulfilled marriage that way. Marriage is not just surviving abroad, it is thriving together. Another important point you need to consider if you want to have a happy marriage abroad is to protect your love, is to nurture it, is to groom it. So if you know that you want to have a happy marriage, you cannot just leave it without contributing significantly to it. You have to be intentional about your love life. Plan date nights, plan times together, and it doesn't have to be so expensive. You have to prioritize your love, and you have to protect it at all cost. So, like the case that I gave before of the woman going for night shift and the man going for work during the day. Now, so assuming she works 5 times a week, that's like 60 hours already. That is a lot. So she has like 2 days to rest in the home. That's already a lot. So you have to think about what is important to you. So if you're working, 5 nights a week and you barely see your husband, somebody else can collect your husband from you. Sorry. Yes, you can lose him because you guys are not prioritizing each other. So you cannot only think about money. There's an opportunity cost of working abroad. So you have to think about your love life as well. So maybe you need to reduce your shifts. Maybe the man needs to reduce his shifts. Maybe you need to consider a different kind of job. Maybe you need to plan date night strategically. But I would not advise that you're working 6 times a week just because you want to make ends meet. Also, there is the impact on your health that could, have a long run impact on your family. I heard a case of a woman who lost her husband to cancer, and that's just an unfortunate incident. You don't want to lose your loved one, you don't want to be lost as well. So if you're coming abroad from Africa, from Nigeria, the first thing you want to think about is not just money. It's not the time to send money back home. It's not easy to make wealth. Do not think that wealth will come to you overnight. It's a gradual process. So you have to think about what are the core values of this family. What is important to us? Are we prioritizing money over our love life? Are we prioritizing money over having peace in this home? Are we prioritizing money over having a beautiful marriage and family? So if you know that what is important to you is having a beautiful family, so okay, how do we work together to make sure that this family is perfect? So maybe if you're working 5 nights, maybe you need to reduce it to 3 nights, so that at least some of the days you get to see your husband gets to see you, so that you guys can talk together. Also, maybe if your husband is working 5 or 6 times a week, maybe he needs to reduce it. And I know that it can put a strain on your finances, but that's, like I said, you have to define what is important to you. If you know that you don't want to lose your marriage, you don't want to lose your children, you want to have a beautiful home, then you might have to, trade off some things. Maybe have little finances. You would have little money, or you not have as much money as you would have as you have planned to have. So this is it. Wealth is not built overnight. Do not think that once you come to the UK in 1 year, you would make a lot of money, that you start building a mansion in the village. If that is your goal, relax, calm down. Wealth is not built overnight, and do not put unnecessary pressure on yourself. So what can you do to groom your love? Like I said, try to adjust your working schedule to fit each other. Plan date nights, plan, Netflix nights with jollof rice, with popcorn, go to church together. Make sure that you are prioritizing your spiritual life. Make sure that you have times to pray together, because these are opportunities to groom each other, to build a bond with your children, if you have children, with your husband. go on spiritual retreats together, go on date nights. Make sure that you are sacrificing time for yourself, even if it is once a week, once a month, twice a week. Make sure that you are not putting money at the forefront of everything that you do, because money will fade away, but time cannot fade away. The love that you build together will be lasting and will help you during difficult seasons. Protecting your love also means that you are your spouse's greatest cheerleader. So when they are down, you should be there to support them. When they are weak, you should be their strength. Whenever they have any area they need you to support, you should be there to support them. You have to leverage on each other's strength. So maybe you are good at navigating Google Map, because I have many people, some people don't even know how to use Google Map. You can teach your spouse how to use Google Map. Maybe they are going to a new location. When you get to the bus stop, click on this, do that. Do not, shame them. Do not make them feel, bad for being a slow learner. Be there to support them. Maybe you are good with job applications. Help them to apply to jobs. If you have things that you think that the areas you think they need to learn, teach them, tell them what to do. If you have friends that have, that are widely exposed, that can support them in their journey, recommend them, refer them. So make sure that as you are growing, that you are also carrying your spouse along, so that you guys can grow together, because the more you support each other to grow, the easier and better it is. So also it means if you are too busy, like your schedules are too tight, you can go for shopping together. These are things that I do with my husband. We go for shopping together, we look at the prices together, we know what is happening in the home. So partnership also involves that you are involved in each other's life, that you are supporting each other. So whoever has strength in an area should build up the other person and make sure that you are growing at par, and that would really help your marriage and your love life. If you feel like you are becoming a shadow of yourself because you have moved abroad, if you feel like your marriage is about to crumble because you have moved abroad, it's because you've not handled all these points that I've mentioned earlier. So you need to go back to the drawing board. Your communication style, your expectations, the visions for the family, the objectives, have they been met? Are you talking about it? Are you prioritizing your love? Are you focusing on family goals over money goals? So if you've addressed those other issues, then you've gone halfway into what you need to do to have a beautiful marriage. Another thing you need to consider is community. You will be lonely if you don't belong to a community. And yes, if you're more comfortable with people of black skin, then you can join a community of black people. There are so many WhatsApp groups where you can meet people, ask people from your church, your workplace, find people that have like minds that you can, do this parenting journey together as well. Especially if you're a woman, childcare can be really draining. Looking for, people that can play with your children. These were things we had on the platter of gold in Nigeria or back home, where we had our siblings, we had our friends, we had our neighbors' children that could easily come to our house and play with our children. But then you see that you're struggling, your child does not even have a playmate, and you're not even considering having other kids because the cost of childcare is financially draining. So you need to get the support of people. One of the things that helped me during my early days in the UK was the fact that when I got to school, because I came in as a student, I met some beautiful, amazing people, that became my close friends, that they were mothers like me, and we could easily talk about our struggles together and encourage each other. And as God will have it, I went to work and I met my fellow blacks as well, and going back home every night was so sweet, because we'd normally gist and talk about different things and just laugh away all the sorrow and all of the challenges that we faced. And if we had any issues that were bothering us, we'd always confide in each other. We were like a succor for each other. We were like a support system. We were like a good support system, helping each other grow. And when we were done with school, we actually pushed each other to get other jobs, and we started talking about it. I'm trying this job application, and before you knew it, each of us got a very good job that where we had to move to other areas. So it's something that is very important. If you're not going to church, what are you doing with your Sundays? Most people move abroad and they forget about God, forget about Jesus, because, especially Christians, because, okay, you can easily work and make money and you think, oh, you don't need God. you're fine, you don't need God's support, but you actually need God. That is why marriages are failing. People are not praying again. People are not going to church. People are not raising their children in the way of the Lord. Children these days don't even know how to pray, unlike the children back home where you can see a 5-year-old that can, pray and pray so well. But here people are struggling because the parents are so busy trying to make money that they don't even have time for the kids. So if you've not started going to church, please go and look for a community of like-minded people that can help your spiritual life. Join a church and serve. Yes, sometimes you might need to work on Sundays, which is understandable, but the times that you are available, what do you do with it? Because you actually need God to have a sane marriage. You need God to be your Lord and Savior. You need the Holy Spirit to guide and direct you, to tell you what to do part time. So you can't do this parenting journey, you can't do this marriage journey alone without the help of God. You need to be active in God's vineyard, just as you were back home in Nigeria. And if you were not serious with God back home in Nigeria, this is the best time to be serious with God. Because one that I've noticed is that the kind of trouble that hits you in the UK is not the type that you have in Nigeria. Like most times when you have financial difficulties or any kind of difficulty, it's something that somebody can really support you in Nigeria. You can easily navigate your way. But most of the troubles that I've had, or issues that I've faced, and people that have come to me about issues they face, they are very, very complicated issues and need the help of God. And so that is why you need God. You cannot just assume that you'll be fine. You need God in your life. So please take your spiritual life seriously. Make sure that you are grooming yourself in the way of the Lord. Your spiritual antenna is active, that your mind is renewed. You are listening to messages. If you can't make it to church, make sure that you are listening to messages. You are praying. But the times you have to go to church, you are also able to go to church. Make sure that you find a community of like-minded people that can support you. Even in your local community, get help. Get help, because you can't do it alone. And you cannot put all the burden on your spouse alone. Your spouse should not be your only best friend. There was a time we did a video on that. Should your spouse be your only best friend? But I think we lost that video alive. But there was another one that we did that talked about how we move from first to best friend. I'm going to put that up. Go and watch that video. So one of the reasons why your marriage is failing, you're not happy, is because you're expecting your husband to be the one that would make you happy, that would provide you with all the happiness in the world. Or maybe your husband is expecting the same thing. So you don't need to pour all your anger, your frustration on your husband or your spouse alone. You need to get support. Get support from like-minded women that can support you. If you're a woman, men, speak to other men. Find a community of people that can support you. If you're navigating, if you're having a challenge, speak to somebody that can support you. It's really someone that is trusted. So don't do this life alone in the UK. The final thing I need you to be aware of is to make sure that you manage expectations. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to re-emphasize it. People should not think that once you land in the UK or in any Western world, you have hit a gold mine and therefore you should start sending money back home every single day. No, that is not possible. I also talked about this in my video where I talked about budgeting in the UK versus Nigeria. You should go and watch that as well. People that are abroad have financial responsibilities. Most times those financial responsibilities, if you are back home, you cannot help them, because the cost of renting here is more than the amount you would even pay for a year that they will have to pay in a month. So do not put a lot of pressure on people that have just arrived in the UK. Please allow them. And that is why you also need to set boundaries. Manage expectations. Tell the people back home what they should expect from you. And if you're not able to support your siblings, your family members, do not feel bad. Do not put a lot of financial strain on your family just because you want to please your brother or your sister back home, just because you want to even build a house. Also, do not put pressure on yourself. I think this is just, make sure that you're managing your expectation, that you're working slow and steady. Maybe not slow and steady, but you're working at the pace that God has designed for you to work. So it is important that you manage expectations from people back home, whether it's from the woman's side or the man's side, that you guys are on the same page. If you need to send money back home, make sure that your wife is aware or your husband is aware, so that nobody's getting angry that, oh, she sent money to her brother, she's not sending to my sister. You guys should just, if it is from one pool of funds that you guys want to send, money back home. Agree on that. And you have to be transparent in your finances. In short, you cannot be hiding finances because the bills are piling up. Somebody has to pay it. So your spouse will definitely find out what you are earning. So this is not a place where you hide the amount you are earning. You have to be transparent, and that's where communication comes in. Let me know how much you are earning. How much can you contribute? How do we navigate? When do we want to buy a house? You guys just have to be as open as possible. If you were not good friends, if you were not transparent, if you were not supporting each other, the marriage will not work. So marriages that fail abroad, they do not fail because there's something about this abroad water that makes marriages fail. It's because the fundamental issues have not been addressed. And I think we talked about this in our video where we talked about how jackpot affected our marriage. I think you should go and watch that. We just summarize it. But if your marriage is failing, your marriage is struggling, if it's at the verge of divorce, it's because the fundamental issues have not been addressed. So you guys have to go back to address the issues. Are you good friends? Do you communicate? Are you transparent? When you have issues, are you willing to resolve the issues? Are you kind to your partner? Do you want to support your partner when they are down? Are you there for them when they are weak? If you're not working together as a team, as partners, this marriage thing will not work in the UK. And there's nobody that will come and save you. And listen, back home, you can really easily run to your father's house or your mother's house or run to your friend's house. Where are you running to? It's going to be really difficult. So make sure that you are cutting each other, that you're addressing all these fundamental issues, and I believe that you would have a happy and beautiful marriage. If this video spoke to you, if you're in the trenches of transition and trying to protect your love while finding your footing, I want you to know that you are not alone. We've all been there. Some of us are still there, still trying to, navigate this marriage journey in the UK and in many Western culture. So I want you to know that you are not alone. We are here to support you. If you need any help, I'm happy to receive your messages. Send me an email. I'll respond to you. And if you enjoy my video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Share with your friends. And I want you to share one biggest challenge you've had since relocating abroad. Let us learn from each other. Please share that in the comment section, and I'll be right there and I'll respond to you. Thank you for watching my video to the very end. Until next time, bye.